This monster has terrorized people for decades, and it's been known to kill humans. It's set in the future, in the year 2012, the state-of-the-art in planetary transportation. This is a commercial consignment ship. It's carrying 20 million tons of ore. The ship has just returned from the planet. The crew of 7 is in deep sleep in a hibernation chamber. The crew was scheduled to be awakened when they arrived on Earth, but the intelligent computer woke them up earlier. After waking up, the crew gathers and discusses how much money they can make on this interstellar voyage. The captain was called away by the computer. The captain went to the central computer room, and after a quick chat with the computer, the captain realizes that they may have been set up by the company. The crew also realized that there was a serious problem. The ship has long since left the solar system and is in an unknown galaxy. Their calls to Earth's ATC went unanswered. A few moments later, Jerry, the navigator, got the coordinates. The ship is now on the outskirts of an uncharted galaxy. The captain came back to tell everyone. During their hibernation, the computer received a signal of unknown origin, so they changed course without authorization and turned back toward the site of the signal. Engineer Martin was the first to object and demanded an immediate change of course back to Earth. But Tom, the scientist, told them that according to their contract, if they receive a signal from a system in space, they should investigate it immediately. Otherwise, they wouldn't be paid a cent for this transportation. But little did they know, interstellar transportation was just a side business. Exploring extraterrestrial intelligence was the core business. Jerry soon figured out the source of the signal was an asteroid. Gravity made it possible to walk on it. The captain took everyone, broke off in a small ship, and flew to the asteroid. Because of the air pressure and turbulence, the ship landed on the asteroid after a bumpy ride. The ship has suffered some damage, which will take a few hours to repair. At this point, the ship is only 2 kilometers from the source. The captain and his lieutenants, Burton and Jerry, donned their gear and boarded the strange planet. Tom, the scientist, is in the command room. The entire planet is in darkness. The constant gusts of wind and air made it difficult for the 3 captains to walk. After a grueling trek, they came upon a huge man-made object. It was the Prometheus. The interior of the ship is vast and reveals an eerie silence. Here, they met a giant humanoid creature. This creature is the creator-engineer. Legend has it that these engineers created mankind. The engineers have been dead for so long, they're fossilized. The bones in his chest were turned out, as if something had come out from the inside. Burton found a very deep hole in the cockpit floor. A bizarre sight. It's incredibly hot, and it's covered in eggs. These eggs are less than a meter high, and they're so strange looking that you can see creatures inside. Bolton got close enough to take a closer look. The top of the egg suddenly opened up, and a creature inside moved slightly. As Burton prepares to get his hands on it, the creature moves violently. The captain and Jerry dragged the unconscious Bolton back to the ship's outer cabin. Annie refused to open the inner hatch for the safety of the rest of the crew. Citing contamination by an unknown creature, she demanded that the 3 captains be quarantined for at least 24 hours. However, the scientists opened the inner hatch and let the 3 captains in. In the infirmary, Tom cuts open the lieutenant's helmet. That's when everyone finally got a good look. A disgusting thing was clinging to the lieutenant's face. This thing is a facehugger. Tom tried to remove the bug, but the tail of the bug was strangling the deputy's neck. The skin of his face was stuck together. When they used the laser to cut the joints of the facehugger, a yellow liquid suddenly erupted and instantly corroded the floor. This made the men afraid to do anything. A few hours later, something strange happened. The facehugger that had been attached to Burton's face was gone. Captain Anne and Tom searched for the bug in the infirmary. Unexpectedly, the facehugger suddenly fell on Annie's shoulder. At this point, the facehugger was barely alive, and its movements were only reflexes. After the ship was repaired, the crew returned to the spacecraft without incident. At this point, all they want to do is get off this planet. It wasn't long before Bolton woke up, looking very tired. The only thing he remembered from before the coma was that the facehugger had jumped on his face. At this point, the group relaxed, not realizing what was waiting for them. The newly awakened Bolton had been eating a lot, Then something happened to Bolton. Burton starts coughing and having spasms and convulsions. The men tried their best to control him. Bolton screamed. Then blood spurted out of his chest. This time, the crowd was completely stunned. But it wasn't over yet. The next moment, a small alien emerged from his chest. The bloody alien ran away as the crowd was shocked. The lieutenant was the first to be killed. The body was thrown into the endless space. The rest of the group began to deploy plans to hunt the alien. John made a weapon, a stun gun, with average lethality. Mainly as a deterrent, Tom made a tracker that would sound an alarm if it came within range. The captain divided the remaining men into two groups, Captain Tom and Jerry, Annie, Martin, and John. Annie's team arrived at a warehouse. That's when the tracker reacted to the locker. Martin and John were ready with their nets. At Annie's signal, it turned out to be an orange cat, but then Martin asked John to go and get the big orange. John hesitantly agreed. Shortly after leaving Anne and Martin, John encountered the alien. In just a few hours, the alien had grown to adulthood. Its black body stood in front of John, and then it struck John right through the head. Annie and Martin heard John's screams. By the time they arrived, the alien was already dragging John into hiding. The remaining 5 crew members returned to the command room. In a matter of moments, one of them has already been killed. They'll have to rework the plan. Now that they know that the aliens are using the ventilation ducts, they've decided to block some of the ducts to force the aliens into the main air chamber. From there, they'll launch the aliens into space. The captain arranged for the other to close the exits. He'll be the bait to attract the aliens. Every time they pass through a duct, the captain remotely instructed Annie to close the hatch. At that point, Jerry picked up the alien's trajectory. Not far from the captain, an accident occurs. Jerry's monitor malfunctions. He rushed to tell the captain to pause the operation. When the monitor returns to life, it shows the alien moving rapidly toward the captain. With the captain and the lieutenant dead, Anne became the highest-ranking person on the ship and gained access to the central computer room. Annie used her privileges to learn a shocking piece of information from the computer. It turns out that the top secret of the spaceship to get the alien biological samples as the first mission. At any time, you can abandon all the crew members. At that moment, scientist Tom quietly came to Annie's side. Tom, as a member of the company's crew, knew about the secret. During their fight, Annie realized that Tom's blood is white. It turns out that Tom is a cyborg. That is, an android that only obeys orders. This also explains why Tom disobeyed Anne's order to return Captain Jerry and Bert into the ship. Tom was planning to kill and to silence her, but was stopped by Martin, who rushed to the scene. He even broke his neck with a stick before stopping the action. The 3 are furious to learn the company's secrets. They were treated like tools to be discarded at will. So they decided to blow up the ship and the aliens, and return to Earth in a space shuttle. The 3 of them split up. Annie will activate the ship's self-destruct system. Martin and Jerry will go to the shuttle first. They'll be ready to pick up Annie, but Martin's side encountered the aliens first. The 2 of them were no match for the aliens. Martin was killed by the aliens. Jerry became a breeding ground for the aliens. Annie has activated the ship's self-destruct system. In 10 minutes, the ship will disappear into space. On the way to the shuttle, Annie found the captain by accident. It turns out that the captain is not dead, but trapped by the aliens and used as a breeding tool. The baby aliens are going inside the captain's body. The captain begged Annie to kill him. Knowing the horrors of the aliens, Annie can only kill the captain with tears in her eyes. Of the original crew of 7, Annie is now the only one left. Annie and Orange Cat boarded the shuttle and launched it on the countdown. The space shuttle was reduced to dust in a terrifying explosion. Annie was ready to return to Earth. When she goes to set up the return program, she suddenly realizes that the aliens are also in the shuttle. Annie hides in her spacesuit locker and puts on a spacesuit. Then she comes out and secures herself in one of the pilot's seats. The alien was already behind Annie. Annie immediately opened the hatch. The strong air currents immediately sucked out everything inside. Seeing that the alien was about to climb in, Annie sent another harpoon at the alien. In her panic, the harpoon got stuck in the hatch. The alien was trying to get through the shuttle's jets, so Anne opened fire, and the hot flames snapped the ropes, and the alien was propelled into the endless universe. When the dust settled, Annie recorded a true report of the crash and sent it back to Earth. Finally, Annie slipped into a deep sleep. The shuttle will reach the boundary of the techless system in 6 weeks. From the first installment, which featured horrific creatures dripping with pure water, to the final installment, which featured aliens genetically bonded to humans. The series, like Alien in its storytelling, has crossed time and borders, and has had its share of ups and downs and criticisms. However, it did allow for a few great directors to emerge and make a name for themselves.